What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I am your host, Mark Perry, editor of XFL News Hub and your spring football media guru. On this week's show, XFL draft date. Anthony Beck talked about it. XFL hiring more positions. We'll get into that. Maybe one of you guys is looking for a job right now. And so much more, including some Major League Football news. Yeah. So if you're a fan of football, hey, first of all, thanks for stopping by. We know that Monday Night Football is on right this second as we're doing this show live. So here's the deal. Now, basically, till all those Monday Night Football games, come hang out. XFL Week in Review. Hang out, talk some XFL before you get into watching who wants to watch the boring pregame stuff on the Monday Night Football anyway? Hang out with us and then go watch your football game. It's that simple. That's how it's going to work this year. So if you like football, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Let's get this episode up to 60 likes. We got some good stuff. Reggie Barlow was in D.C. We have clips from him out about town. Anthony Beck was in St. Louis. We have clips from him. Both of them are throwing out the first pitches. I'm wondering if their XFL is going to do the same thing. And that's what got me thinking about this week's show. I started playing out the timeline. I was like, okay, so maybe are we going to get two new XFL coaches doing the whole media circuit this week? Because if that's the case, then I think we kind of have an idea of what happens. And I started to think about when and what date they would announce team names. So that was our question of the week. So in the chat, let us know. Give us the day that you think the XFL is going to release the team names. I have my day. We have some good ones already from Twitter. We'll read those later on the show and get your thoughts on the draft date. I think if somebody nails it, I think we might have to do a little prize too. So if you might win a prize if you guess the right date. But somebody put in something that was very good and it made me think. So anyway, that's what was making me think there. Also, tomorrow we have the NFL Fantasy Football League draft for all the XFL Week in Review fans, and with myself. That draft is next week, so I will show you my team next week. You can see how I did. League is full up and ready to go, so I'm excited to play against you guys. And winner of the league gets some XFL merch, so that will be a lot of fun as well. I think we'll probably try to do a writers league as well there. So we got that. So pick the date that you think the XFL will reveal its team names. We'll talk about that in the show. We've got the clips. We've got the news about the draft. We've got the new job postings, and so much more. So if you want to be part of the show, it's real simple. Email podcast@XFL News Hub with your thoughts, record an MP3 or video on your phone. We'll play it on next week's show, or just be old school. Leave us a voicemail, 888-430-7692, extension 3. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate that. We're on everywhere: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Player FM, Amazon, Audible, Stitcher. But leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We appreciate that. And you can watch the show, XFL Week in Review, live at 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. XFL Timeline, 180 days from kickoff in the XFL. So October 23rd, we'll have the Specialist Showcase. November 16th, 2022, XFL Draft. We'll get into that details. February 9th, 2023 is the XFL training camp begins. And then, January 9th and February 18th, the XFL season begins. And of course, we all know the different XFL locations: Seattle, Houston, San Antonio, Vegas, Dallas, St. Louis, DC, and Orlando. We also have some interesting news about some camps that players were getting invited to. It's been confirmed by a bunch of different sources. We'll get into that also later on in the show. But before we get started on everything, we want to thank our sponsor. Hold on. I'm wearing the shirt right now, Manscaped. We appreciate Manscaped for sponsoring the show. Check out they got the Weed Whacker here. This is something that you can use to trim your ears, trim your nose, so you're not looking like a woolly mammoth. So if you want to to support XFL Week in Review, it's brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Over 6 million men worldwide trust Manscaped, including this guy. With this exclusive offer for you, you save 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code XFL News Hub at manscaped.com. And if my math is correct, I'm not gonna say that part. I'm gonna take this part out because that's kind of dumb. Get 20% off free shipping with the code XFL News Hub at manscaped.com. That's 20% off. Free shipping, manscaped.com, promo code XFL News Hub. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with manscaped.com. I use their the nose trimmer, especially when you get older, guys. And also, one of the things I like about Manscaped is I get their, like, they have soaps and all this other stuff. I don't have to go to the store, buy whatever. Like, just send me, they ship it to me. I got it. I'm happy. It's good stuff. So definitely check out manscaped.com and save yourself 20%. Just use the promo code XFL News Hub. All right. So we appreciate Manscaped for sponsoring us. So we've got the news. We've got the check-in with the football, with the coaches, and so much more. I'm trying to think of it, look at my notes. Oh, so make sure you join the Discord on our channel because we're actually having community chats and stuff going on in there. And let's see, that's my notes. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we'll get into the news. So without further ado, folks, before the NFL preseason kicks off, without further ado, let's get into the week that was the XFL.
Yeah, well, first I want our fans, the XFL fans and the DC team, to know that they have set the standard by what they did the last time we were out from a fan participation standpoint, from an energy and enthusiasm standpoint, and we need that back. We're going to lean on them for that, and we want to embrace them. They're going to get a committed coach, and myself, and, of course, our other coaches, and then we're going to put a good team together, and we're going to go out and have some fun.
In addition to their passion, the fans for the previous iteration like to have some fun, especially the beer snake in the stands. Are you familiar with the beer snake? And most importantly, are you pro beer snake?
I am familiar with the beer snake. I've done my homework on it, and to let you know where I stand on it, after every win, I want to be the guy to put the last cup on the beer snake, so looking forward to that.
Got to throw a little curveball here, no pun intended, but earlier today you were at Nats Park and you threw out the first pitch. How'd that go for you?
I mean, I was really nervous about it over the last few days. I've had videos sent to me of some of the people who've done it in the past who didn't fare so well. So my goal was to basically get the ball within the framework of the catcher, and we were able to do that. Now, it wasn't a strike, but we were able to make sure that he got one that he can handle.
But did you stand on the rubber or were you in front of the mound? What was your tact there?
I mean, I kept going back and forward as I was walking out there, and they said it was my choice. So I didn't want to mess up the mound, so I decided to just, do it from the front of it.
We'll say that that's the reason why you didn't want to mess up the mound. That's what it was?
That's exactly the reason.
Oh, about the beer snake. Yes, I am a fan of the beer snake. And I tell you what, my goal, my plans is after every home game, after a win, I want to be the last cup after I finish my beer that I put on the beer snake.
Yeah, but you got the leverage. I do. Yeah, that's all I need. It's a big thing. What's the tip today? I got to pitch. Bounce it. That's all. Don't bounce it. Derek Jeter told the president to do us first pitch.
My time here. It was a tough season in 08, better season to come in 2023 with the XFL, but the fans were great, the community was awesome, very family oriented. 2020 was an awesome season for the St. Louis team, and I want that same excitement, I want that same energy from this crowd. I expect it. I expect a lot of great things, the fans to show up. Ticket sales have been, ticket deposits have been phenomenal so far, and hashtag fill the top. That's what it's all about. I want that top open for game one, and I'm excited to be in the dome with the team and the fans. St. Louis, energy, youthful coach, guy that's going to immerse himself with the fan base. I told you earlier today, I've been trying to answer every single question on social media I can because it's important. These fans deserve it, and they proved it. They proved it in 2020 when they're out here and they showed up for this team. So leave it on me to put together a winner, someone that can go out there, play well, they can wear their names on the back of the jerseys in the crowd, and as long as the fans do their part, we'll show up.
Anthony Beck, the St. Louis head coach, was a guest on Character and Smallman on ESPN 101. He talked about getting the XFL coaching job, pairing with St. Louis, his coaching staff, the XFL draft, practicing with the DC team, and more. Definitely hitting the rounds this week, but this one was where he had the most and kind of interesting information out of all the interviews he did. He talked about when to expect the name to the drop and if St. Louis will be called the Battlehawks. Quote, I'll say this obviously, I'm not dropping any announcements today, and that will be determined. It will be out shortly, but the league is going to do the best thing for all the teams, or whether it's tweaking some names for some cities, not tweaking some names, keeping the same name. They know what's important, and they know it sells. So don't worry, St. Louis. I'd be stunned if your Battlehawks didn't come back. He also went on to say, so I'll keep it at that. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited about the name drop when we have that date set and the fans can kind of get excited about it. I think everybody's going to be happy, close quote. There you go. That's why I think they're keeping the Battlehawks. Beck said that 66 players will be drafted per team, and the XFL draft then cut down to 54 when the season starts. Then also mentions the XFL draft date. Quote, and of course the draft will be in mid-November. We have November 16th, I believe, so there's a lot of work to be done, close quote. So there you have it. At least the first tentative date of November 16th, which I believe is a Wednesday, something to keep in mind in the middle of the football week. He talks about the Dallas hub and gives some insight on how practices will work. He said, quote, so myself and Reggie Coach Barlow, who is the DC team, will practice at the same facility in the Arlington area. And it's great. I mean, it will be a way to practice against each other when we have to. We'll have parts of the day where we're going to do our own thing. We'll never cross paths until we have some of those scrimmages, but it is having the best people, the best trainers, everything held in the same spot. It's easier. So there you have it. So this is how they're going to break it down. So it would be something like the St. Louis team will practice in the morning in that facility. The DC team will practice later on. They could also scrimmage each other if they wanted to do at some point, like we've seen in some of the NFL teams lately. They'll scrimmage against each other for a couple days. This is the kind of thing the XFL do. And what the beauty is of it is that they don't have to bring in their own trainer. I mean, basically the same trainers will be in the same spot. So they'll work with the DC team in the beginning and then the St. Louis team. And you basically share resources, saving money, and that's the whole goal. He talks about XFL teams playing in their cities they represent. He said, quote, I think the number one thing is we're going to have to be in the cities playing the games, and that's going to be the most important thing. We're going to be able to build something with the fan base. The fan base can get excited about a team every week, and that's what will be great. But I think the hub idea is a good start to get the league off the ground, close quote. So thinking about what the USFL has done, and that was the problem, there was no connection between the fans and the teams. The XFL is going out of their way already, have Reggie Barlow hitting the media circuit. You have Anthony Beck hitting the media circuit in St. Louis. Could we get other coaches during the next couple weeks hitting that media circuit before we get to the XFL announcement of team names? I think that seems to kind of be the plan. We haven't heard anything this week. We will have to wait later in the week. They also talk about in the interview the Dome, the Battlehawks name, the culture of the team, XFL rules, and so much more. So if you want to take a listen to that whole interview, head over to xflnewshub.com so you can check out the article. But November 16th, XFL draft date not confirmed, but at least mentioned. We're just going to have to find out as it gets closer. The XFL is hiring even more stuff. They're hiring social media teams and sales position. So the XFL continues to hire more positions. This time, the XFL is looking to fill its social media teams and salespeople. The league continues to build up its staff before the February 2023 23 kickoff. So they first one is a social media manager for teams. The XFL is seeking a social media manager to serve as the go-to for one of the 8 XFL teams' social media posts. The manager is responsible for creating and programming social media content for the XFL City team followers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and more. In addition, they will create post content, generate analytics, reporting, corporate partner initiatives, and event coverage. The person will represent the team and be the voice of the brand across all channels, as well as devise, coordinate, execute multi-platform strategies for internal, external campaigns. This position will have a dual reporting relationship to the director of marketing and content. Then you have the director of marketing and content. That's who this social media person is going to report to. This person will be a brand builder, experienced in ticket sales marketing, passionate about digital content trends, utilize a journalistic approach to content creation. They will also manage a small content team to be responsible for the writing, editing, and day-to-day management of the team's website and social platforms. Interesting. They will manage a small content responsible for editing of the team's website and social platforms. So does that mean that it's not going to just be a page off of XFL? Are they actually going to manage their own teams? Are we going to get completely different domains like the NFL does? Or some leagues have the content connected to the main site. Other teams have, each team has their own website. We'll have to see how that works. Also, manager of team sponsorships and sales. The manager of team partnership sales is one of the 8 teams, is a self-starter with sponsorship sales experience in sports or entertainment. Individual possess strong scales, acumen. The key focus of this role is to sell team-based assets to local brands that will help achieve the revenue goals and fan engagement objectives of the team's sponsorship revenue goals. The manager of team partnership sales will work with the chief revenue officer, executive team management, league office to support strategic approach to driving long-term corporate partnership revenue for the XFL. Position will have a dual reporting relationship to the team's VP of business and event operations, and of course, director of partnership sales. Self-starter, sales background, strong sales acumen, key role in the sell league assets to national and local brands that will help to achieve the revenue goals and fan engagement objectives of the XFL. Those are 4 jobs. Then a couple days later, we got even more, and this one is also interesting. The new XFL job posting includes positions for an XFL creative studio. So we had those jobs postings, and a couple days later, we got new ones. Director of Performance Marketing, Recruiter, Art Director, and Creative Director. So the Creative Director position is the most interesting with the talk of an XFL creative studio. So first, Director of Performance Marketing. Join the marketing brand. The role will report to the VP, blah, blah, blah. Market for all the league of the 8 teams. This role oversees team focus on all digital levers, including search marketing, content programmatic, display, email, social, marketplace, and affiliate marketing channels. The right leader will be prepared to motivate and develop and grow this team and understand how advertising can translate into ticket sales. Recruiter, Director of Talent Acquisitions. The recruiter will primarily be responsible for executing full lifecycle recruitment activities for various open positions throughout the XFL. So now they want to bring in somebody that actually is going to go out and find people for these job positions. You see that? I mean, there's a lot of jobs going on. They're going to be spending a lot of money on this. This is a hands-on role responsible for direct candidate recruitment, as well as developing and implementing sourcing strategies to lead the achievement of business hiring objectives. Art Director, now we're getting into it, is seeking an art director with a love of football design and typography to join their creative team. As art director with the XFL, you'll take charge of concept and executing brand materials and campaigns for use across all touch points of the brand, on and off the field, supporting business and football operations across the league and its 8 teams. You will collaborate with and lead other members of the creative team to create both print and digital assets for use throughout the season and off-season. Your portfolio should show capability within multiple design disciplines, as well as varying visual things, creative problem solver, blah, blah, blah. The creative director, so this is the interesting one. The XFL is seeking a creative director to join our XFL creative studio. This role will report to the VP of Marketing and Brand and oversee the concept and development of all creative content development in-house or with agency partners. This individual will help to shape our creative strategy and will work closely with our VP marketing and brand strategy to build a clear vision of how the XFL and its 8 team brands translates to our creative content, play a key role in the development of our brand architecture and identity. The creative director will lead the creative studio. Here it is. The creative director will lead the creative studio in pushing creative boundaries while supporting organizational needs in order to further strengthen the brand and enhance fan and client engagement. This role also helps support and enhance of departmental process. So the ideal candidate will be a visionary who's grounded in results, understands how to turn big ideas into tangible results for the organization. Exceptional leader, experience in sports and media, strong creative background, proven success. So this part was interesting. To join our XFL creative studio. This is a lot of stuff. And I would even venture to say this is more than what I think the original XFL just had some social media folks. This is like a whole other level with this XFL creative studio. Remember that also the league hired some people who were also going to be like videographers for teams, and they already had some of those guys in place. And what it makes me think, and this is just pure speculation on my part, is that I wonder if the XFL creative studio is essentially the replacement for NFL Films. So we saw the USFL partner with NFL Films, which was great, and they had a great show that they put on kind of behind the scenes, the United by Football series, which I loved. I thought it was great. And I was wondering if the XFL was going to partner with NFL, the NFL as well when it comes to that stuff. But it seems like maybe the XFL is going to go their own route and create this XFL creative studio. We'll have to kind of see how this all plays out. But I thought that XFL creative studio was kind of interesting. Let us know what you think in the comments. This got a lot of buzz last week. Jordan Palmer joins the XFL as Director of Quarterback Development. That's right. The XFL announced that Jordan Palmer has joined the league as Director of Quarterback Development. Palmer has spent over 15 years on the gridiron as a consultant for elite quarterbacks and as an NFL quarterback. He will report to Doug Whaley, Senior Vice President of Player Personnel. Jordan is one of the top football consultants in the entire sport of football, helping QBs refine and strengthen their physical, mental, and emotional skills to reach their greatest potential. To have him as our consultant, coach, and role model for our athletes, and for him to share our holistic player development strategy is a huge value add to our league, said Russ Brandon, president of the XFL. Quarterbacks are an essential function of the team, and their ability to play at the high level is critical for us to engage fans and deliver a dynamic game of football. With Jordan's leadership and expertise, we will help develop and empower the next generation of QBs. In his role, this is all the interesting stuff. Palmer will work with the coaching staff from each XFL team to create a thoughtful and advanced quarterback development program. By combining the physical therapy, strength training, and position coaching from each team into one program, XFL QBs will develop a deeper understanding of their game than ever before. Listen to that. By combining the physical therapy, strength training, position coaching from each team into one program, XFL QBs will develop a deeper understanding of their game than ever before. Another win about having everything in one central location. All of the quarterbacks are now going to be able to work with Jordan Palmer, and he's going to help them become better players, which in turn will help the XFL. Also, through the months of September to December, remember the draft is taking place in November. The XFL QBs will work with Palmer and focus on movement efficiency and throwing mechanics. In addition, the XFL QBs will be provided with an actionable plan for continuous development, opportunities throughout the offseason, and establish consistent remote consulting with Palmer and his team. Whaley said, quote, the most important position in football is quarterback, arguably one of the hardest positions to play in sports. Jordan works with some of the most recognizable young quarterbacks in the NFL. Maybe you've heard of them, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, among others. It will be great to have his imprint on our players as they further develop their professional development. Jordan was also an early advocate for using technology for training and performance improvement, which aligns with our commitment to innovation. We are thrilled to have him as a crucial member of our football operations team. Of course, he spent 10 years as a quarterback coaching experience established and currently runs QB Summit, a private training program for players from 10 years old through NFL, reaching over 250 young athletes. I can't imagine how much that costs. Around the country, QB Summit consists of the Summit Tour, a 12-stop nationwide QB camp that focuses on developing skills on the field and in the classroom. Summit Digital, an online coaching platform. Before starting QB Summit, Palmer coached at the Elite 11, the nation's premier quarterback competition for high schoolers. Prior to coaching, played 7 seasons in the NFL with Washington, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Chicago, and Tennessee. Before the NFL, Palmer was a 4-year starter at the University of Texas, El Paso, where he broke almost every passing and offensive record. This got lots of buzz amongst the football world about the XFL getting Jordan Palmer to basically be the quarterback coach of every single quarterback in the XFL. I think that is a huge get, and the quarterback is the most important position. It makes sense to have him come on board and to be working with the players starting in September. That is not too far away, starting in September all the way through the season to kind of help with their mechanics. My question is, if you're a quarterback, and even if you played in the USFL, would you rather play in the USFL, which is fine too, we've heard guys going back there, or take a shot at playing the XFL and get training with a guy like Jordan Palmer with not only his background of developing quarterbacks, but also his connections too with teams in the NFL? Like, you impress him, he could definitely put the word out for you, not only for XFL teams, but NFL teams as well. So it's really, you're getting to see the XFL really trying to work as a developmental league for these players. And this is just another great way, and especially of having the league in a hub situation where he can bounce around to each team and work with all the quarterbacks. He can just send them all in one location, and he could work with them. So it'll be interesting to see how, when this all kicks off, who is going to be part of this list of quarterbacks and how exactly they're going to go about training them. The XFL partners with Navigate, a sports research, data, and analytics company. They put out a press release of the XFL ownership group led by Danny Garcia, Dwayne Johnson, Jerry Cardinals, Redbird Capital Partners, is building a fan-first, fast-paced global professional football league with innovative rules and an enhanced 360 game experience. What does that mean? We're excited to be helping the league build their in-market value proposition, value sponsorship assets, and support commercial conversations. President of Navigate, Jeff Nelson, notes, "We know from digging into the metrics in 2020 that the interest in spring football and the strength of the XFL name are a powerful combination, especially for brands. Now, with the XFL's incredible ownership and leadership group building an even stronger league, and with Disney as the ultimate platform for the league to reach fans, we are thrilled to be diving into the data to demonstrate the value and impact that it will possibly have on corporate partners." So basically some kind of like data analytics thing. And I believe that they had mentioned that they worked with them in the past, though I don't know about this. No official word from the XFL, but this kind of popped up on my news feed that they had this press release a couple days ago. Just a lot of partners. Things are starting to ramp up big time for the XFL. Major League Football announces $2.5 million term sheet and says it will return in 2023. Yes, we heard about all the craziness. So this is a note from me. I posted this because I wanted to put it out there, but I have my little take on the matter. I said to players, tread lightly on this, players. MLFB's website is still down due to non-payment, and people did leave the company after last month's mess. So there are people that did leave, even though they said that they had money. So Major League Football, the president and CEO announced that in conjunction with the company's previous announced plan to cancel the remainder of its training camp. Remember, they were going to start playing their season for 2022 while moving forward with operations for a full season in 2023. That the company has received from an institution an initial stock equity term sheet in the amount of $2.5 million, which it is reviewing. As previously announced, the company plans to paying all obligations previously incurred for player expenses and other trade obligations. Our excellent staff remains intact and dedicated to this plan. Your staff does not remain intact. In addition, we expect to receive additional offers of financing in the near future from institutions who have previously invested in us. And there you have it there. I threw those people's name out there. Take it for what you will. If I was a player, I would want my money up front before or put it in escrow. That's probably more like it. You could do that, put the money in escrow, and so that at least it's in there. But I don't trust them with 10-foot pole, neither should you. But who knows? Maybe they're turning it around, but it seems that they will return in 2023. It just, I ain't buying. But, hey, I hope it does. All right, we'll be back with your social media stuff right after this. Stay tuned, my friends. What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today. All right, my friends, we are back. What's up in the chat room? Isaiah says, hey, Mr. Perry, what are your thoughts on Manti Te'o's? Would you like to see him in the XFL? I think he's past his prime now. We just actually watched it just before I did the show. Me and my wife and daughters watched it, and definitely was not the impression that I had during that time of him. It's just crazy. And any dude who's a faith like he is, you know me, I'm a Christian dude, not a militant psychopath like we got going on in the world, but God is good. And, just seeing that he's a guy of faith even had me even more respect for him. And it's just a crazy journey and how things have kind of turned out for him and the feedback he's gotten from that documentary. We only finished the first episode. We got to do the second one. Highly recommend seeing that because everybody remembers that story and everybody remembers how he was treated afterwards. And so prayers for him and just everybody involved. It's just a crazy, crazy story. But I'm not done with it yet. But, hey, that would be great if he was a coach in the XFL. Why not? Now, I don't think that he's got – maybe. I don't know. We will see. But, yeah, that would be cool if he was a coach in the XFL. Jared says, I'm ready for Fantasy Football League. Yeah, no fantasy tomorrow. Tomorrow is when we have our fantasy football draft. Jarrett says, team names September 15th. Random date. He says they got nose and ears. Glad to see the XFL coaches heading out into the public. Gotti says, San Antonio franchise possible names, Wings, Aztecs, and Warhogs. Okay. Jared says, recruiter just like a military recruiter. I don't know if it's that. Let's see. Palmer, I see, worked with Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, which is amazing. Yes. That would be good. It was good. For the win says, yeah, XFL needs a documentary. That F1 series got a lot of people interested in Formula One. I've heard that. I never know anything about Formula One, but I've heard that series, and I agree. I was really hoping that the XFL could have some kind of show on Netflix, but if anything, it would probably be on Disney Plus, which would be cool, like some kind of separate show. The USFL had their own show. Again, that was just kind of like their teaser. I wish it was kind of on a primetime thing, but usually it was just before the games. But we'll see. definitely there's some. I mean, Mike Mitchell has talked about it for a long time. That there's definitely a lot of chatter about some year-round content coming from the XFL. And for the USFL News Hub, our USFL News Hub site, I mean, it is just like, even with players, Cavante Turpin playing well with the 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just been kind of very quiet, just because people are now into the NFL mode. So you have to keep that in mind with this XFL stuff. Everybody's in NFL mode right now, doing their fantasy football drafts, etc. Chris says, MLFB News Hub, hosted by Mark Perry. Yeah, and nobody would watch. Isaiah says, XFL veteran players. AJ says, when do you think team names will be revealed before the draft? Oh, clearly. So we got some September 15th. You guys are getting close to what I'm talking about. And Jared says, I'm ready to buy ESPN Plus, Disney Plus if they have for the XFL coverage. All right. Let's go on to some of your social media stuff, shall we? And we'll get to your question. Remember, the question of the week, and let me know in the chat now, when do you think, pick the date, the XFL will reveal its team names? That's what we want to know from you guys. First up on the Facebook from last week's show, talking about how do you apply for all these jobs that are coming out? Well, Bill, just go to XFL.com. It's got careers right at the top. That's how you apply. Just do a little research. By the time you type this out, you could have just went to XFL.com and got your answer. We get players all the time sending me stuff. How do I try out? Just go to XFL.com. Google it. And you can find out information. There's an FAQ. By the time you type it or take all that time and effort to send it to me, you could have just go to XFL.com. Okay? You figure it out. But hey, Bill, we want you to get a job at the XFL so you can be an insider for us. All right, let's get to some of these dates, shall we? So pick a date. This is on Instagram, which doesn't come out. So pick a date for the XFL reveal. Its name's Fred JMZ _1776 says somewhere in October. Chauncey Gilroy says September 15th. We got that. Houston Roughnecks analyst says August 24th. And Lapman says what that means. We don't have the team names yet. My guess, putting out there, we got some September 15th. I'm saying September 14th. That's my date, September 14th. If you look at the calendar, if the XFL were to do their, it depends on this week. If we get another 2 coaches throwing out the first pitch or doing the local media thing with the chats going on afterward on the Fridays, kind of like both Reggie Barlow and Anthony Beck did, then I'm like, okay, there's a plan in place. And we're going to kind of do this local media stuff and then work it. And I think September 14th could be the date as well, because that is a Wednesday. The 15th, you got Thursday night football, I believe. Yes, the 15th is Thursday night football, and it's football time. That Wednesday before the Thursday night football game, I think that's the spot where you can possibly find that. Let's get on to some other people's thoughts. But that's mine. Mine is the 14th. Richard O for real, checking in. September 8th. He's got September 8th. Let's see. That would be September 8th would be a Thursday. I don't know. That's why I'm staying away from Thursday. September 11th. Andy Yak at Andy Yak 22. No way it's going to be on September 11th because that's September 11th and no one wants to do that. Jackal 1353, Jenna checking in, says September 11th. No way on September 11th is that going to happen. Pudge _R_media says, I honestly don't understand the holdup as if it's going to be a major announcement. If the returning cities are going to use their previous names, release those at least and do the announcements later for the 3 cities. They're losing a lot of money on merch by waiting on the announcement. But to answer your question, I choose the week of Labor Day. Interesting there. That's where his pick is. Pudge checking in there. Mike says, and this one I think is the best one. Mike at Push the Pace 723. Week 1, Monday Night Football halftime show. Why is that interesting? Because that would be, my friends, September 12th, which would be 2 days before I did. To have it on ESPN, have it on Monday Night Football at halftime show, to drop that. Now, granted, it would be a very big, but I don't know if they could do that because if everybody's super excited about, the week 1, but hitting it while it's hot, that would be, to have that hyped and to have all those football fans to see that, to me, that would be that's a fantastic idea. A Monday Night Football, heck, even a Thursday Night Football as well. I like that Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football, week 1, to be like, hey, we're going to drop the team names, have The Rock on there, home freaking run. I love that idea, but I'm going with the 14th. Let's see, also on the Twitter, a couple interesting things out there. So David Bierman works for ESPN, and so he had posted this picture up close and personal with the 2 cheerleaders there, and then he's with the Lombardi Trophy. For those of you watching online, do you notice anything? So forget about the girls. Do you notice anything? Is in the background of this picture of him at this ESPN event. It was called ESPN The Picnic. Apparently, it was some kind of event for employees. But ESPN The Picnic, they had a picture in the back, and it's got the NFL, their NFL, like college football, their NFL logo, and an XFL logo as well. How interesting was the XFL featured in this kind of ESPN thing? I thought that was very fascinating. So if you ESPN The Picnic, I'll look it up real quick. You can look it up too. It's an employee-only kind of event. Let me see if this will come out. Here we go. So here it is. Let's see which one has the best. Here we go. So it's ESPN The Picnic. But if you see at the top, it's got the Monday Night Football logo. This is the thing that took place today. It's still going on now. But at some place in Connecticut. But you notice it's got the college football, Monday Night Football, and then the XFL logo. All 3 of those involved with ESPN. I thought that was really quite interesting. And I'm a software engineer, so I'm always bored. So I'm always checking Twitter and looking at other stuff while I'm waiting for stuff to load. So I noticed that one. So that one was a good, the fact that ESPN is promoting, like really, you see, I don't think they did that before. There's something big, I believe, in the works when it comes to the XFL and this Disney partnership, bigger than what we might have thought. Something to keep an eye out for. Also, one of the players, Jordan Kennedy, put this one out there. He says, opportunity. So South Florida, the Las Vegas XFL team invites you to a private player workout on next week, Monday and Tuesday, hosted by the House of Athlete West in Florida. We saw this. I wasn't sure if it was real, but apparently a couple of guys out there reporting that it is XFL analyst is reporting that on his Instagram that a lot of players and agents have reached out and said that, yeah, this is a thing. And so there's some kind of like private player workouts going on with the XFL, which is weird to me because there is no, it's not like you're on the XFL Las Vegas team yet, right? So I thought it was because there was some scams going on out there or something, but this apparently is legit. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that for next week. I don't know if we'll get official announcement or on that at all, but we'll just kind of keep you posted on that. On to the emails. Mark, do you think it would be better for a football career to be on the taxi squad of an NFL team or a starting quarterback in the XFL? I would think that NFL could use the XFL as a taxi squad for this purpose. Same to be said for coaches, and of course the NFL would probably not want to make their playbooks a resource. Baseball has a farm system. Could the XFL continue to expand until we had a farm team for each NFL team? It would mean 32 venues. It would be pretty interesting. They could still have team colors and names. Baseball Cardinals have a AAA team, the Memphis Redbirds. Thanks for the email, Tim. Again, remember, the USFL, no matter what anybody tells you, the USFL, the XFL, and college football per se are feeder systems into the NFL. Everybody wants to play in the NFL. Anthony Beck was getting interviewed. He basically said, "Yeah, I want my whole team to make it into the NFL." Like, that's just the reality of it. And so people complain, but it's not a farm system like the Major League Baseball farm system or the G League in the NBA. It's not like that at all. But they are working together and trying to basically get the best players to play in the NFL, and of course. But there's guys that just aren't going to be NFL ready players, and they can continue their career playing in the spring with the XFL, make a nice chunk of change, get a name for themselves, and kind of be with another brand and be known as like an XFL guy. They just won't be an NFL guy; they'll be an XFL guy. So that is a possibility too. And I would love for just think about the guys who played in the XFL that are like PJ Walker was still rooting for PJ Walker even after, and it looks like he didn't play that well this past week if you saw this game. But the other guy wound up hurting his foot, and he's out for the season. So it looks like PJ will be the third string quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. So no need to worry about him playing in the XFL this season. But so relax when it comes to like, a feeder system for the NFL. Don't be ridiculous. Of course, players want to play in the NFL. The other thing, though, with the taxi squad stuff, and Chris Strevler, who played in the CFL, has been trying to hang on with the NFL because if he can hang on, I think it's 5 to 6 years, you get the player pension. So I don't know if you're on the practice squad for 6 years, does that count? Or I don't know how that counts, but some of these players want to get and stay in the NFL for a while to get that NFL pension. That's health insurance and the whole deal. So, especially with the amount of pounding your body takes. So we'll have to see how that, but that's kind of something to keep in mind too with some of these guys of wanting to stay in the NFL, because if they put in enough years, then they get a pension. So it makes sense for them to want to continue to do that. Something to keep in mind when these guys are bouncing around. You're like, why don't you just play in the XFL? Well, it's because they're trying to get that pension, that player pension. All right. Let's see here. Isaiah says, get back to the chat real quick. Hopefully you are a list of veteran players that you want to see in the XFL. Also, I found a video of said players that you can react to, Mr. Perry. Cool. Why did everyone say September 15th with me? I guess they're just copying Jared, I guess. AJ says off topic, why San Antonio? Why did the XFL choose San Antonio? They want 3 teams in Texas because the hub is going to be in Arlington for the win. Because of the hub, he's right there. Texas is a huge market for football. So that is why. I thought it was dumb at first until they were having the hub in Texas. Now it makes sense. Because if you have 3 teams and you have 8 teams total, you start to work it around. You're not having to travel out of the state so much, and everything is in one central location. And again, relax, LA and New York. This doesn't mean that you guys are totally out of the world, that you're not going to be back in the XFL at some point. This is just year 1, and let's see how we do it. But man, they are like pumping with these job postings and these partnerships. I'm telling you, I think exciting things are coming to the XFL. Right now, we're all just patiently waiting for the name reveal. But we're all kind of in agreement. It's that kind of September 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th time frame where we could get XFL team names. And doing it on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football would be off the charts and would be super exciting on that, my friends. All right, that's it for this week's show, my friends. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, email podcast at XFL News Hub with your thoughts, record an MP3 or video on your phone. Leave us a voicemail, 888-430-7692, extension 3. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show, and we are live at 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday, my friends. Fantasy football draft for all of the guys there. Remember, join the Discord. Continue the chat on there. We have our fantasy football draft on Tuesday. Well, I'll show you my team. I've been practicing. I listen to the fantasy footballers. I listen to that and the NFL's fantasy show as well. And Pat McAfee, I watch him all the time now too. And of course, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Football. I read that, watch that too. I listen to that as well. So I'm super fantasy football nerd. I love it. Yeah, and hey, that's it for this week's show. Hey, enjoy Monday Night Football, my friends. Have a good time there. I appreciate everybody stopping in on the chat. Go enjoy your football, or if you're like my wife, maybe your wives are watching, or girlfriends, or maybe yourself too, watching The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Hey, before you go, smash that like button. Let's get to 60 likes. We got 9 right now. That's nothing. There's way more people than 9 people have watched this stuff. We appreciate you support the show. Hopefully we get more news next week. Let's see if our predictions are correct. If the XFL does the coaching thing going on, Mike Mitchell had said at the end of August, by the way. I just want to point that out for team names. But let's see if we get another round of these 2 coaches doing local media stuff, then I think we might be on target for that September 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th kind of time frame. We'll have to see there. All right, that's it for me, folks. God bless as always, and I will see you all later.